Round 8 of Spec-5 World Tour comes to you from Interlagos, bringing it to you live here on HJBC. It's one of the greatest MX5 leagues anywhere in all of iRacing, now into its 17th season. Today we go racing in Brazil for 45 minutes. David Haynes with Reese Gardner and Michael Derby to bring you live coverage. But before we can do 45 minutes of racing, we've got qualifying to set the grid. This is a track with an immense amount of history, layout changes, updates that's consistently produced exciting racing across the journey. Reese.
Yeah, certainly has. And I'm looking forward to this race because Interlagos produces fantastic racing in just about every category that we see at it. And the racing in Spec-5 has always been incredible as well. We're currently in that 15-minute qualifying session before the 45-minute race to come. We are yet to see what the true pace of these drivers are like, but we'll get to see how they tackle this very historic Brazilian circuit. In fact, dates from the late 1930s, this place.
And there's a few hometown heroes as well this season in Spec-5 World Tour. We've had a handful of drivers from Brazil, from Team CFPM Sampaio, join us, and I'm sure they have been eagerly awaiting racing at Interlagos. It includes championship leader Joao Hedler, but also some of his teammates, Jameson Sampaio, Breno Rodriguez. Am I noticing any others? We've had a few others, and of course you can see the flag of Brazil proudly in the registration plate position on the rear of their cars.
Yeah, indeed. This is their home race, and so they are going to be wanting to get the dominant result here more than at any other track on the schedule. That's the big challenge. So let's see how they go as Sampaio finds his way out of the final corner, or the final proper corner of Junção here at Interlagos. Then through the flat out left, across the top of the hill and onto the start-finish straight. A few layout changes that Interlagos has been through over the years. The current layout dates from about 1991, when it was massively truncated. It used to be a much longer circuit, in fact about as long as Spa is, and it was winding like a maze through this complex, but with that little flick through turns 1 and 2, you cut off about half of it.
So we've gone through the outlap, beginning the first flying lap of 4 for qualifying for our drivers. Jameson Sampaio heading down Reta Oposta and in towards Cacida do Lago. Your Portuguese pronunciation sounded far more fluent than mine a little earlier, Reese Gardner, but I think I know what they mean. They mean back straight. They mean Lake Descent corner, and then you head back up the hill to Ferradura, the horseshoe.
Yes, Ferradura is a very challenging corner, double apex right-hander, and you carry the power through and then into the hairpin section. This is one of the most technical sections of the circuit, and you really got to make sure that you have the rotation on. Up to Bico de Pato now is the name of this tight hairpin, heavy braking zone. Pretty much the slowest corner on the circuit, or one of at least. You can actually carry a lot of speed around here. And then down, descending on the run up to Junção, or the junction. Try to take as much curb out of the right as you can, and then hit the curb on the inside, run all the way across it on the outside, and that is the best run up the hill you can possibly get. So important, because this start-finish stretch is so long.
And will be very slipstreaming dependent when we get into the racing conditions as well. It'll make things very exciting with a long run out of what you described as practically, in practical terms, the final corner to the start-finish line, which is where Barney is just there before the lights and the gantry. First qualifying times completed. The timing column is going to update, and if you want to keep an eye on timing, spec5.hjbc.live has live timing right now. Michael Folds might have made a mistake, because he was out on track and now he's in the pit exit once again. So I think he's crossed the line and then reset, because he's sitting third at the moment, but he's exiting pit lane again. We had a quick look but didn't talk about the track temperatures and the air temperatures. It's a hot one actually out there.
Yeah, it is. It's quite a warm track. 44 degrees Celsius, 112 Fahrenheit. That is right on the verge of ouchie. This is very burny on my footsies, and if it's going to be bad on your feet, think about how bad it's going to be on tires that are going through these high load corners, especially tires that are of the kind of compound that we see on the Global Mazda MX-5 Cup. They'll be going through a lot around here, and I think they're going to be looking forward to a tire change when it comes time for the pit stop.
Found a guide that says it's too hot to walk your dog on concrete if the surface temperature is hotter than about 45. So we're just reaching too hot to walk your dog on Interlagos temperatures out there right now as well. This is the kind of insight you only get on HJBC. On board right now with this long run, it's foot absolutely to the firewall for a long way for Michael Folds. Remembering this is an outlap for him, so he's winding up to take another swing. Joao Hedler has also just completed a lap and then called time on it. Jameson Sampaio might do similar. So I think we're seeing that everyone knows that you need to make a change of tyres in this session. They're not going to hold on and continue to give performance for 4 consecutive back-to-back push laps. So it's either 2 push, 1 reset, and then 1 flying again, or in Michael Folds, it's 1 flying lap, a reset. Now he's on his 3rd lap of 4 in qualifying. And we're going to see how it goes for him. I've got my eye on the sectors. It's about to update to let us know that he's actually equaled his time that put him into 3rd position. For the open class, Logan Fry is in the 9th outright position. Spec-5 World Tour, 2 categories of drivers. They race identically. They grid all together. They drive identical cars, but it's pro and open class drivers.
Yeah, indeed, and they're all competing for the same points. There's no separate points system for pro and open. So if you're the open class winner and you put a few pro class cars in between yourself and your nearest rival in your class, you actually get a big points advantage. There's a huge slide there for Logan Fry as he comes out of Junsao. Speed will be compromised onto the start-finish straight. But yeah, this is going to be interesting here for Logan. The next open class car is Lee Martin down in 15th place. There's 5 cars in between himself and his next rival, which sets him up pretty well for the start of the race.
So we've had 28 cars here. 23 drivers have set qualifying times. So none yet from Michael Chase, Ismail Ublal, Lincoln Fox, or Breno Rodriguez or Gareth Brocklesby. So Logan Fry's time keeps him in 9th.
Ooh, Odyssey Adams up to 11th spot. Big improvement. 152.4 now on board the number 22. Still got 7 minutes remaining in the session, and there's a good portion of the drivers in the midfield who are on their final lap thus far, so I think we're going to be seeing some shuffling.
Yeah, but interestingly, I'm not seeing any particularly massive improvements. Lincoln Fox goes to 9th. Back in the CFPM Sampaio livery by the looks of things. Quite the chameleon. Joao Hedler has a purple first sector, so he's reset his tyres once again. And he is on a full attack with this one. 28.179 through the first sector. I think it's the best anyone has done. And this is tracking for yet more improvement from the hometown driver.
Yeah, look at how smooth he is. And oh, how much he takes out of the curb there. I think that might have been an off track there for Joao. Taking a little bit too much.
Still had an inside tyre on the curb and he's still pushing. So I guess fingers crossed for him as he continues to attack the track. Easy for me to say. Through every possible way. Bigger Pazzo, late apex for him, but still trying to flow the momentum in this car. That's how these MX-5s are typically driven. About 160, 180-ish horsepower, more than Mazda MX-5s used to have, but still certainly a car where you try to keep your minimum speeds up, keep your momentum through every corner and flow that speed onto the following straight. That's what he's tried to do out of Junsao up the hill. The sectors are okay, but dropped a little bit through the middle. He might actually be pitting in if he's not improving. And he's not.
Yeah.
Interesting pit entry here at Interlagos. 80km/h pit lane speed limit, 50-ish miles an hour, with that ramp right at the end that lets you really attack it.
Yeah, indeed.
Of the pit lane entry.
Yes, and of course, this scan of Interlagos dates from before the track's pit entry was changed in the real world. So the actual pit entry lane is on the racing line on the inside of the final sort of kink onto the start-finish straight. So you need to be careful if you're following someone through that section. You never know if they might accidentally lead you into pit lane when you don't want to, if you're hard in their slipstream. Well, there's been improvements from Michael Chase as well.
You can lead a horse to pit lane, but you can't make it drink.
Yes. You can't make it drink that sweet, sweet fuel.
And it is sweet here in Brazil. They love high ethanol blends. So it would be very sweet. Michael Chase, I think, was already not improving. Looks like a children's animated thing of the 90s with the hood, the bonnet flapping up and down there. Mike Oswalt is in 15th as we cut to him. He's one of the few drivers with laps left in the bank. Him and Michael Coates. So it's just a few drivers left with a chance to improve towards the tail end of this qualifying, unless we see Breno Rodriguez or Gareth Brocklesby head out on track.
Yes, and doesn't look like there's much of a trace of that. Considering the lap times here at Interlagos, nearly 2 minutes in length, we have only 3.5 minutes remaining in the session. If you leave the pits now, you will not be able to complete your qualifying lap. Since this is a solo session, it's a hard cut, and once the clock hits 0, that's it. You know, just kicked off the circuit. So too late for Rodriguez and Brocklesby. But Mike Oswalt still has a chance here to improve on 15th place for the time being. Very shiny, deep dive MX-5 livery. It looks like he's weaving a little bit here coming onto the start-finish straight. I'm not sure exactly what's what the deal is here. If he was setting a lap, he might want to preserve that momentum.
He's also in that not improving on the 4th lap. And just, I mean, I don't know what exactly that means, but he's probably not aware that we were looking at him so intensely. Lincoln Fox will get one more lap. Gareth Brocklesby is out on track, but for reasons Reece Gardner explained, will not be improving from tail of the grid 27th or 28th place. Lincoln Fox did set a personal best last time around, the 152.039. And has one more lap, but the tyres might be just subtly past their best. Through the center S at the start of the lap, lost a 10th or 2 to the PB.
Michael Coates as well made a big improvement of half a second to put himself up the field. He is now finished with the qualifying session for now. Where did he put himself? 7th spot. Very nicely done. For Lincoln Fox, a bit too much curb on the exit there. I think that might be an off track.
I would think it likely, as well as this lap was already not tracking for an improvement. Lincoln Fox might be the next driver to practice the pit entry after Ray Lombardi and Lee Martin. We'll wait and see on that one. Just a minute left in this qualifying.
So sticking to the inside and into the entry lane he comes. So looks like that's going to be that. And the qualifying session is basically over now with still a minute remaining on the clock. Lee Martin, the only other car out there, but he's completed all 4 of his laps. So this is basically going to be an in-lap for Martin as Fox exits away from the digital world of Interlagos. Martin will find his way around the hairpin section, and well, any extra track time in this sort of situation you'll certainly take.
The clouds looking lovely, But when the sun breaks through all of those gaps, when you don't have a little bit of that cloud cover come across, the track temperature is super, super hot. The air temperature, 27 degrees Celsius, some would call it hot. You and I probably wouldn't, but I look at the relative humidity of 53%, and I suspect manageable enough if it was 80% humidity at those temperatures, be a bit sticky. So that's the end of qualifying. Grid locked in for Spec-5 World Tour at Interlagos, and it is a Brazilian lockout on the front row. Teammates Joao Hedler and Jameson Sampaio first and second. They'll be thrilled with that, no doubt, as the two Club Brazil drivers are on top in Brazil. Michael Folds and Eugenio Pellicci are third and fourth. Then there's John Miller and Ray Lombardi, Michael Coates, Mitchell Peake, Nicholas Shepard, and Lincoln Fox as the top 10. Ismail Ublal's qualified 11th, and his teammate Logan Fry, the open class pole sitter, in 12th there. Lots of clear space to the rest of his class. There's Rui Coimbra, Michael Chase, Odyssey Adams, Mike Oswalt, Sean Hayes, and Todd Martin follow before you find Lee Martin there in 19th, second of the open class, and then Paul Murgatroyd in 20th. Peter Rasorkas is third from open class here, ahead of Frankie Sugamelli, Mark Kruger, Brian Chabelski, Geordie Fike, Bobby Paul, and the two drivers that didn't set qualifying times, Breno Rodriguez and Gareth Brocklesby. But we did see Brocklesby out on track late in qualifying, too late to set a time though. At this point, we are getting towards the tail end of this season. In Spec-5 World Tour, 7 races completed. This is 8. Let's take a look at the standings.
Yeah, indeed. As we find our way through to Joao Hedler, over 500 points thus far after 7 rounds completed. That's 51 points ahead of Michael Folds, and that gap is looking harder and harder to catch up as time goes on. It's still close between Lincoln Fox and Michael Chase for the third spot there. Only 3 points separating John Miller and Mitchell Peake. There's some close battles pretty much everywhere you look here in this top 10, but if you want to go for the lead, you got a lot of work to do.
Michael Folds was winner on the Phoenix Oval a week ago, and he has actually shaved that gap down to Joao Hedler. But that was the one and only time we were racing these cars on an oval. You've got to do the rest of the work at the remaining rounds. That's the pro points. In the open class, Carl Genski's had his lead cut down. I say cut down, I'm pretty sure, yes, cut down is the correct way to say it, as Logan Fry was the open class winner at Phoenix. Got just a little bit closer. Lee Martin, Mark Kruger, Peter Rasorkas, Travis Hewitt, Daniel Altozo, Jake DeGrand, Rob Conahan, and Bobby Paul complete that class. And it's all to play for in Mr. Clean. The reigning Mr. Clean is Lee Martin, but it's Brian Chabelski from Todd Martin and Mike Oswalt and Joao Hedler at the moment. Lee Martin is 5th. Geordie Fike, John Miller, Mark Kruger, Rui Coimbra, and Sean Hayes. It's the top 10 in the standings for the cleanest drivers.
Yeah, very good stuff. I always like it when a series has that special award for keeping it cleanest over the course of the season. The caution has been extended by race control, so we're going to be getting another formation lap out of all of this. And
critically, the 45-minute race clock does not start until the green flag waves. In some other series, if you had a safety car start like this, the clock would begin as the field crosses the start-finish line now, but it doesn't yet. We look at the schedule for Season 17 of Spec-5 World Tour. Virginia International Raceway full, Navarra, Okayama, Mount Panorama, Detroit Grand Prix at Belle Isle, Circuit of the Americas. Phoenix Raceway was one that you had sort of circled as an odd one, the 2008 Oval. It's pretty conventional sports car racing from here on out, though. Here at Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, Interlagos, Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya still to come. Magello, Mid-Ohio, Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and a finale at Laguna Seca, the dry lake.
Indeed. Great schedule. And I loved the inclusion of Phoenix for round 7. Really shook things up. It's been the Joao Hedler show for the most part this season. And Phoenix provided a nice little sideways step for all of that. For now, Hedler's back on pole here at Interlagos. One thing that I have noticed watching these guys go around is, especially in the twisty sections, they were having a bit of trouble keeping up with the pace car. So maybe keep an eye out for that as we come towards the end of this full formation lap.
Once again, spec5.hjbc.live. It's your live timing. It's got the standings, the orders, the pit stop times, the pit counters, also air temp and track temp, which has climbed just a little bit. This track is not cooling off, and the racing is about to get super hot as well. Championship leader at his hometown race. I might be stretching the truth a little bit on that one. Joao Hedler leads the field with his teammate alongside. Michael Folds will be starting on row number 2. He took the win last time out. He's closing the gap to Hedler with a couple of rounds still to go in this championship. You'll see them all live here on HJBC. Lights are out on the pace car. They're going to be forming up the 2x2. And when the green flag waves, the 45 minutes will begin.
And the anticipation builds now. They will form up behind the safety car. Jameson Sampaio is keeping that second line back a little bit. Potentially should be almost alongside his teammate here, but at the moment it just seems like there's an empty space being left. So let's see how this one works out as the green flag is imminent with the pace car pulling in.
Makes a sharp dart to the left. Barney's got the green flag in the air, and now he's waving it, and the 45 minutes begin. The MX-5s roar into life at Interlagos for Spec-5 World Tour, and the championship leader has the race lead and the inside line for the Estocena as it heads down the hill. It comes a little bit off camber, grips up on the exit of the change of direction to the right, and he sweeps into Curva de Sol, turn 3, in the race lead, keeping his teammate in second. His rival in third, Michael Folds, with a good start. A chance that Eugenio Pellicci bumps Michael Folds up towards the lead. Heading down the straight towards turn 4. Now we get really up to speed. The slipstream kicks in, and the drivers are really at the limit of their grip. Track limits on the exit of this turn 4 are super challenging as well. Everyone trying to mind that as they then go through turn 5 and back up the hill.
Ismail Ublal and Mitchell Peak side by side there behind the golden car of Ray Lombardi. Some good battling going on behind as well in the hands of Lincoln Fox, just passing Logan Fry. Rui Coimbra behind the both of them. Fry still holding on to the open class lead as things stand, and there's still a long way to the other open class competitors. So it looks like Fry has the big advantage here on lap 1, but the racing continues to scythe its way through these hairpins. Ublal round the outside of Mitchell Peak at the hairpin, finally gets that position. And now question is, will Ray Lombardi be able to keep up with Nicholas Shepard, who's at the end of the train ahead for the race lead?
Now's where things get interesting. Long front straight, uphill for the beginning of it. Joao Hedler with that 0.7 of a second advantage might be putting some pressure on Jameson Sampaio because of how close Michael Folds is. Folds has got to make some decisions here heading across the start-finish line, and he actually opts to just stay in third for the time being. A few other moves happening back there. Ublal down the inside of Ray Lombardi. Mitchell Peak trying to fend off Lincoln Fox. I'm not sure optimized qualifying, so might have a bit more pace to show in the racing conditions. Now Peak is all over Ray Lombardi, who qualified 6th, has dropped back to 9th, might soon drop back to 10th or even 11th if this pressure keeps up.
Yeah, this is very, very big pressure on Lombardi. Getting on the brakes early there was Lincoln Fox. As Mitchell Peak and Fox try their best to just bide their time here. Looks like there's been a problem for Frankie Sugamelli. Meanwhile, he's just fallen all the way back to 25th place. Fox trying round the outside of Peak. Can be done, but it's far easier said than done as things stand. Ideally, being on the outside for that right-hander puts you on the inside for that left-hander, so you're going to be seeing a few moves like that, I'd wager.
On the contrary, Junsao is much easier done than said. A few of these Portuguese names. We head down the hill. João Hedler's lead coming down to half a second. So Sampaio's gotten closer. With that, Michael Folds gets closer. So critical that you don't have a mistake at that left-hander at the bottom of the hill, Junsao, because it would hurt you for a long, long time heading up the hill here. An unbroken train of cars from the leader, João Hedler, to Brian Jabalski in 24th. After the spin, Frankie Sugamelli is off the tail of what's otherwise an unbroken pack of race cars closing in as the aerodynamic effect becomes more dramatic, passing 110 miles an hour over the front straight.
Such a long on-throttle time here at Interlagos. Basically, from here on out, you're back on full power all the way up to Descida do Lago. Then out of Descida do Lago, you're on the power all the way up to Ferradura. So Interlagos actually has quite a bit of power time. That's good advantage for the slipstream. Shepherd making up a position. He's just passed Michael Coates for 6th place. Doing all right for now. And Michael Folds is keeping Jameson Sampaio honest. Again, you're right. It seems like he's not going for the moves. And, you know, if I were in his position, I would do the same thing. You know, it's early on in the race. Still got a lot of time left to sort out your spot. And if you put yourself out of sorts early on, it's going to be difficult to recover.
All of the Box 5 motorsports drivers were very patient at the Phoenix Oval, and that was rewarded with basically locking out the top 3, or maybe even more, if I recall. So Folds has been very patient in 3rd, and a couple of his teammates are getting closer to him. So John Miller still runs in 5th. Nicholas Shepherd's been one of the big gainers from 9th on the grid to 6th, just behind John Miller there. So if you see Shepherd and Miller maybe then try to jump Eugenio Pollicci, that could be the game. Try to link the team together, and the game from Michael Folds is to just pull out of the toe for a little split second there. And we see just everyone trying to follow the wheel tracks of the car in front, except for Michael Folds. Now here comes John Miller down the inside of Eugenio Pollicci, trying to get the band together.
Pollicci holding on to the spot and taking advantage. Around the outside is Nicholas Shepherd. That's another position that he's made up there. And, well, Miller tried on Pollicci, but Eugenio said no. And now Miller can't get back in line. He is a sitting duck there with no slipstream to be had until they get to the braking zone for Descida do Lago. He's lost a couple, maybe a few positions simply by sticking his nose out and trying to go for a move.
Stern reminder to anyone who wants to try to do things differently that you will be cut down and fail. So the leader comes around the exit of Ferradura into this sort of the twisty middle section of the racetrack. The first sector and the final sector are known to be very high speed, and then it's a bit more medium speed, constant radius corners constantly turning through here. Sort of like a Portuguese pronounced Circuit Spa-Francorchamps, which is known for a similar characteristic. And we've just got a little bit more spread through the field as the elbows have come out here on lap 4. João Hedler and Jameson Sampaio are not getting away from Michael Folds, but it was the attempted battle for 4th that really made things interesting.
Well, that started to come up again because Pollicci had a bad exit from Junsao, And now Nicholas Shepard is going to find his way past Polici as well. Shepard has had a fantastic last couple of laps. Found his way up from the back end of the top 10, and now he is in 4th across the start-finish line, trying to take advantage of the situation. Is Ismail Ublal, who goes right up the inside of Eugenio Polici, side by side on the exit of turn 2. A little bit of grass for the 172, and Polici is sent wide, catches the outside of the grass, but he keeps the car straight. Good to see, and a safe re-entry too. Man, Polici held on as best he could. Unfortunately, it just seems he finds a bit of trouble every so often.
So the pack still mostly together at a high average speed, high slipstreaming racetrack here at Interlagos, but just a few cracks beginning to emerge in places for some drivers. Drivers taking a little bit of risk and, for the most part, not being rewarded for it. But there are a few that have been rewarded, like Nicholas Shepard, like Michael Coates, and like Ismail Ublal, who's come from 11th to 6th at the moment. This is the view from up on high in the helicopter. Don't know what Portuguese is for helicopter, but I learnt recently that the German word is Hubschrauber.
Oh, I see. Well, that's some information that I will store away for some future purpose. On the way into Junção, then we come. And Michael Coates is holding on to the battle for 5th. Have a look at how far ahead Nicholas Shepard has got here. He's made up even more time over the course of this last lap. He's on an absolute charge here. Michael Folds is going to have to be looking in his mirrors very shortly. To say nothing of Sampaio and Hedler, who have been flying in formation up the front of this field, but now the response starts to come here from Michael Folds. He gets up the inside of 2nd place. Jamison Sampaio has to give him room through turn 1, but that's significant. The number 15 now challenging for the lead.
Yeah, and Nicholas Shepard takes the fastest lap of the race, and it's interleaved CFPM Sampaio box 5, CFPM Sampaio box 5, but here's Nicholas Shepard. He's trying to go with his teammate Michael Folds up towards the front. Folds gives João Hedler just a little bit of a bump down Reto Aposta. Nicholas Shepard gets ahead of Sampaio and into 3rd, runs a bit wide on the exit, so that could get a little bit touchy over 3rd place. 1st and 2nd seem to have sorted themselves for the moment. More momentum around the outside for Sampaio, but the inside line belongs to Nicholas Shepard. They'll remain side by side through Ferragira, and we're seeing in these cars with no downforce that I think the inside line wins. In an F4 car, I could see going around the outside there working, but not in the global Mazda MX-5 Cup car.
Yeah, I think the slowest class you could see it working in is GT4, maybe even GT3. I've certainly seen moves like that happen in GT4s beforehand, and they're not too far a step up from the MX-5s. Regardless, 34 minutes on the clock, and I'm reading 19 laps remaining on my timing. We're still a ways off from the pit cycle, but when it comes, I'm going to be very intrigued as to the results, because João Hedler has been punching the hole in the air for pretty much everybody, and almost everyone has slipstream of some kind. It's created a very interesting situation in terms of the battle for position in the slipstream. Look at this. Michael Folds going for the lead coming into turn 1, and he's going to take it.
Nicholas Shepard almost went with him and then just decided against it. So Folds to the lead of the race. João Hedler back into 2nd. Nicholas Shepard all over the both of them. A couple of car lengths back to Jamison Sampaio. Michael Coates has caught that slipstream. He still runs with them. Ismail Ublal there as well. John Miller in 7th. I've seen some of his teammates streak away. He's got Ray Lombardi, Mitchell Peake, and Eugenio Polici right behind him. Folds, how much pace is he going to give us in the lead, or is he going to back them up just a little bit? That's out wide from Logan Fry, I thought, who's still leading the open class. Got a lot of space between himself and Lee Martin in 2nd in class, and Peter Rosorkis 3rd in class at the moment.
We've got a lot of battling going on throughout this field, but the show's being stolen by the battle for the lead here. Hedler and Sampaio, it's their home race here, and they'll be desperate to try and grab that 1-2 back. They have lost it, but now they potentially have a chance to work the strategy a little more. Try and save fuel, save tires in the slipstream, and grab those positions back once the pit stops come around. It's all about the exit from Junsao. How do they both play it? Nice and wide from Sampaio, but Hedler, a little bit more of a direct line to the exit. And if anything, it looks like he's under a bit of pressure from Shepard, who will try to go for second, I'm sure, when they get to turn 1.
Looks like Michael Coates stepping aside. And Ismail Ublal will go through to 5th, side by side for the race lead. Joel Hedler's going to try to take it back. The inside line into turn 1. The Senna S gets all over the curbing, as you tend to do. It's through that turn 2 right-hander there that your minimum speed's so important, because you're just about flat out on power through turn 3 here. And Folds is going to try to get his nose back underneath. He's got Nicholas Shepard to help him along here, and that is exactly the help he is going to get. Michael Folds back to the race lead as it chops and changes twice in 3 corners.
Yeah, Hedler's going to try and make it as difficult for Shepard as he possibly can, but Nicholas has the inside line, at least for that moment. But now it's the inside for Ferradura that Hedler has, and I think Shepard might have to back out of this. Now it falls back into the favour of Sampaio and Hedler, both on the inside of Ferradura. Sampaio will try and get back onto the podium here, but Shepard's going to he's trying his best to defend the place. Around the outside, dives back up, coming down through the dip, through the left-hander. This is exactly the kind of racing that Interlagos produces, and that's why we love it so much.
It's not just a matter of racing, it's a matter of tactics, it's a matter of teamwork at the moment. CFPM, Sampaio and Box 5, each with the driver in the hunt for the championship, looking to score maximum points, and some teammates that look willing to support them at the moment. Michael Folds leading the race with Joel Hedler just behind him. Those supporters, those backers, Shepard and Sampaio side by side for 3rd place. But behind them comes another Box 5 driver, and Odyssey Adams has spun off the circuit, and there's been some drama deeper in the field.
Oh yeah, I see Sean Hayes losing places as well. Was in 15th, and Hayes has completely lost the front end of his car. Looks like it might have been contact with Adams, as round the outside of turn 1, Jameson Sampaio trying his best to hold on to this. Easy does it. Through turn 3, onto the back straight. Can Nicholas Shepard stay on the podium? Can Jameson Sampaio get it? Can Ismail Ublal go for the podium here? It'd be unwise to make it 3 wide into turn 4 this early on in the race, but it's all to play for at the moment.
I get the sense that Jameson Sampaio and Ismail Ublal are not interested in winning Mr. Clean. They're interested in standing on the podium, battling for the win, supporting their teammates. A little bit of a gap forms between Hedler, Folds, and this, with Jameson Sampaio just ahead of Nicholas Shepard. Bit of a concertina effect, nearly drivers behind, running into the drivers in front as they slow down just at the top of that hill. The other drivers that get a second chance through all of this battling, closing up the pack. Michael Coates, John Miller, and Ray Lombardi in 8th. But I don't think Mitchell Peake and Eugenio Polici are too far away of rejoining what was at one point an unbroken train, 1st to 24th. They look like they're pushing on pretty hard. Peake and Polici have a really high pace ceiling in my appraisal. I think they can do it.
Yeah, I reckon they can do it as well. They need to work together though. It's all well and good getting in the slipstream and going for dives at corners, but if you're running side by side any more than you absolutely need to, then you're just going to be bleeding time to the cars ahead. So I think if they bump draft a bit, if they work together, they'll be able to do it quite easily. Well, Polici and Peake are going to swap places there coming into the braking zone, and that's basically how you want it to be done. You don't want to be fighting each other into the braking zones if you want to work together to catch up.
Lincoln Fox also gets ahead of Logan Fry, the open class leader, now in the 13th outright, but remaining in touch with this group of drivers. Brian Jabelski and Geordie Fike pit together. Interesting.
Folds just got back into the lead as well versus Joel Hedler, but yeah, Jabelski and Fike in the lane. And if you're curious, as we watch this scintillating fight for the lead, the incident with Odyssey Adams and Sean Hayes. Adams unfortunately went wide off the curb at Junsao at the end of lap 8 and slid back onto the racetrack right into the front quarter of Sean Hayes, which destroyed the front end of Hayes' car. So that is the sad story of what happened to the drivers who are now in 24th and 25th. But there's still very exciting story of the drivers up the front of this field. Michael Folds is the one in the lead, and Joel Hedler in car 80 still trying to catch him up. 14 laps to go at the line. When do any of these guys decide to come into the pits? I think Interlagos might be one of those tracks where you want a draft buddy.
Yep, so looking at when some others have stopped, 8 and 9 laps into the race, it's a symmetrical fuel window, basically. So if you can pit 8 laps into the race, you can pit with 8 laps to go. Joel Hedler tries to get back in front and then might just slot back in behind. So I think there's still quite a few laps to get to the end of the pit stop window here. It doesn't seem like you're going to drastically undercut this group, even if you're able to put new right side tyres on. But maybe if you've got someone to pit with, it's possible. Joel Hedler to the inside in turn 3, to the inside line heading down the straight. And now we're going to get 2 by 2 as trying to sneak his way in, Nicholas Shepherd. Okay, so Joel Hedler leading and a massive gaggle behind here. Ublal's trying to sneak his nose in somewhere along, trying to bump truck his teammate if he can.
This is a pretty crazy race. I've been enjoying this. All of this battling for the moment is allowing Joel Hedler to get away. But this fighting between Shepherd and basically everyone around him is mighty entertaining. Shepherd has been the spanner in the works this whole time, and now Ismail Ublal looks like he's going to join him, trying to be a thorn in the side of Hedler, Folds, and Sampaio.
So still before the halfway point of the race, but knowing that we're within the pit window, they head back up the hill. It's got a name. Something de boxes?
Subida dos boxes. That's
Subida dos boxes.
Yes.
Ismail Ublal bumping Nicholas Shepherd, but they both pulled out a line from behind Jameson Sampaio, breaking down and into 1 and 2, climbing all over the curbs. Mitchell Peake and Lincoln Fox have pitted together, just a 1/10 of a second apart, rolling down the lane in search of their pit crews. I think we have been seeing quite a bit of right-hand side tyre change happening. This is absolutely level pegging for the race lead between the 2 championship rivals, first and second in the championship, first and second on track. They've gone wheel to wheel, they've gone door to door, and they might take this all the way to the final round of the championship. They might take it all the way to the checkered flag today.
Yeah, did you see the move into turn 4 there? Saw Michael Folds moving across into the braking zone, and Joel Hedler almost at the exact same time getting on the brakes. There was a lot of trust between our 2 leaders there to keep this battle going. Sugameli's the next car to pit down low. We keep our eyes peeled on the single file train for the lead, which extends all the way back to Eugenio Pollicci in 9th. Any of these drivers could come away with the win here today. Realistically, Michael Folds and Joel Hedler believe that it is all down to them here. Look at the amount of curb that Folds is taking out of the exit of Junsao there. maybe unsettles the car a little bit. You can see the gap starting to decrease now as the slipstream kicks in for Joao Hedler.
On board with second place.
Oh,
and a move to the inside to go to pit lane. Joao Hedler's teammate is going to come with him, so that was coordinated. But Michael Coates also follows the both of them in. So the box 5 guys stay out. CFPM Sampaio come in, and a few others are going to take the hint and follow them along.
All right, so no black flags there for pit entry. It was executed very nicely. Michael Coates and Rui Coimbra have followed the CFPM Sampaio teammates in. And the tyres are on for both Hedler and Sampaio. They move out into the pit exit lane, and this is basically a piece of racetrack in and of itself. You need to try and extend the line out as much as you can, really attack this S-bend that leads you back onto the racetrack. In terms of the stops, well, 15 seconds or so for Hedler and Sampaio. Coates and Coimbra not able to compete, doing 16, 17 second pit stops.
Did you see how confident they were with the pit exit? This is a track they know very well. They know you can go to the left side of the green cone. They know you can climb over the curb on the pit exit, in the pit exit lane there. They know you can use all of that road to try to maximize any advantage you can get, try to minimize the loss. So they had a super aggressive pit entry, good pit stops, super aggressive pit exit. The two of them together don't look like they've got any traffic. So if they work together and these box 5 guys don't, an undercut is entirely possible. Do we see these drivers continue out longer, or do they react immediately? Michael Foles with his teammate Nicholas Shepard and his teammate Ismail Ublal behind. A little bit of space to John Miller, Ray Lombardi and Eugenio Polici. Pit entry is here. And the answer is no, not this time.
Okay. Well then, these guys are going to resume their battle themselves. Shepard and Folds bump drafting on the way into turn 1 with Ublal, the outsider, looking in. Miller, Lombardi and Polici still very much on the bubble of this fight themselves. Lombardi going to try his best to catch up to Polici down the straights here. Sorry, Miller. Miller is the one in front of him. And 2 more pit stops. Logan Fry and Mark Kruger. Peter Rousakis will go to the open class lead as a result of that, but once he pits himself, he will likely fall back behind them. For the time being, it looks like Logan Fry still has solidly the lead in the open class. Yeah,
and he had been running around with Mitchell Peak and Lincoln Fox and some of those. They pitted around him, left him all on his own.
Oh dear. Might we have lost David Haynes ever so briefly? Apparently he will be back in
ever
a
so
moment.
Briefly, I think.
There we go.
I can't remember what I was saying, but I think it was something about Logan Fry and who he was running around with, and he decided he didn't want to be in clean air. He wanted to come in now, and he will rejoin just behind Rui Coimbra and Mitchell Peak. So he links up again with some pro-class drivers, which has been pretty important with the power of the slipstream to run with a quick pack if you want to run quickly.
Yeah, having someone to slipstream or someone to bump you from behind down the straights is incredibly important around here.
We're about to be able to get a lap time comparison. We're going to get the first flying lap of Joao Hedler and Jamison Sampaio. Michael Foles and the race leader and his teammates are doing 152.9. So you see Eugenio Polici come into pit lane. They've actually significantly renovated this pit building as well in the time that they redid the pit entry, some of the other facilities around here. Murgatroyd and Peter Rousakis join him on pit lane. Joao Hedler, 152.1. Jamison Sampaio, a 151.9. So it's almost a second a lap quicker for these guys with their new tyres than it was for Michael Foles. And I think the undercut's on here for these guys, particularly if box 5 stay out a couple more laps.
Yeah, I think it absolutely is. I mean, it's
looking like a solid 4-lap undercut here. That is great news for CFPM Sampaio.
Yeah, for sure. I thought about that earlier on in the race. Just seeing them lose that top two that they'd started with, I thought they're probably going to try some undercut strategy here to try and get ahead and stamp their authority on this field. Well, it looks like that's exactly what's happening for now. Polici's pit stop has brought him out a few seconds back from them. Around about 6 seconds or so. Crucially, Polici has Coates for company, and as the rest of our top five continue to pit, I'm sure we'll see them filter out in roughly the same sorts of positions, but with a massive advantage for the CFPM Sampaio cars. Speaking of the top five, here they are. Will our top three make their way into pit lane here? They will. It's Ismail Ublal going to just jump on the brakes there. Lombardi going long, it seems. I don't know if that's the right decision, but we'll see where it puts him ultimately. Michael Folds leading the way into pit lane. Again, no black flags to anyone's name.
Well, overshot his pit stall very significantly. Left side tyres. Question mark? CFPM Sampaio definitely changed their right side tyres, which would help them through Junsao, help them through turn 4 to Cito del Lago, help them through all of those places. But a couple of these guys have gone left side tyres here amongst box 5. But what they have had, what Michael Foltz has had, is a very quick stop. 12 seconds stationary. Now he's getting up to speed on Retta Aposta. And here come CFPM Sampaio. Joe Hedler and Jameson Sampaio are going to be behind Michael Folds, but up to speed. Folds runs a little bit wide through the left-hander, and it is game on with 15 minutes to go.
Oh, this is good. Don't forget, left side tyres for Michael Folds. He's going to let Joao Hedler go for the lead, but, of course, the more well-used tyres on the CFPM cars are on the left-hand side of the car. So through corners like this, they're going to have a disadvantage. I think that might be partially what Michael Folds is going for here. The opportunity to attack through the right-hand corners here, which there are more than you'd think. Some of the most significant corners like this one, Bico de Pato, are in fact right-handers. But also, there's, I guess it's a myth. I'm not too sure, but I've heard people say that if you change tyres that are closest to the pit garage, you will get a quicker pit stop time. I don't know if that's actually true, but yeah, it's something that works into the psychological game of it.
For a lot of cars, there is one side that changes faster than the other, and I don't know if it's based on which side the pit stall is, or if it's just one side is quicker than the other. Ray Lombardi and Mike Oswald are the last drivers remaining to pit. As they pit now, this becomes once again the battle for the race lead. And while Michael Folds had a really good pit stop, I note that what he doesn't have is cover fire. He's lost a few of his teammates that were right with him. The next closest is Nicholas Shepard. Ray Lombardi then has jumped up into 5th with his really quick stop. And then John Miller, and we saw Ismail Ublal have a significant time loss on pit lane as well. Lombardi's run long and had a quick stop. He blends into 5th place, just ahead of John Miller. With all of that done, Logan Fry still leads the open class for Peter Resorkis and Lee Martin.
That's not a bad call, it turns out, from Ray Lombardi.
Oh, Alici and Ublal have just banged doors twice in a straight line.
Yeah, I think I just saw that.
How about 3 times in a corner now?
Well, this is not ideal. Well, I think we should stay on the replay going from here because they're continuing to go side by side on live. So into Ferradura, bang once, and then potentially bang twice. They finally sorted themselves out eventually, but yeah, Ublal is trying his hardest here to improve his spot. Polici, though, holding strong.
So 7 laps to go. Joao Hedler leads from his teammate Jamison Sampaio. Michael Folds had the shortest pit stop of anyone in this race. Needed to have saved fuel at the start. Might need to save some fuel now. Can I interest you in Ismail Ublal and Eugenio Polici banging doors in a straight line again?
Come down into turn 1. Oh, racing line, late on the brakes. Oh, Ismail Ublal hits him. Oh, and Eugenio Polici gets into the wall at turn 2. And his race is likely over. Gonna get a very quick replay of that. Oh man, that's not ideal. Ublal squeezed to the inside. There's only so much those front tires will be able to do. But I feel for Polici there.
I feel like they both gave as good as they got for the most part between the two of them. Sad to see it end like that. Felt like it was always going to end like that. It was a whole lap and more in the brewing between the two of them. Club Italy and Club South Africa. It's two Club Brazil drivers that lead the way in their home country. They proudly fly the flag on their team livery as well. So for them, I think they would have had their focus on Interlagos from the very, very beginning of this season. I think there's a few things we've seen that suggest both of these drivers have really hashed out the finer details and this track.
What is yet to come here for Joao Hedler and Jamison Sampaio?
They're leaving Folds behind.
Yeah, they are indeed. It's
I don't think Folds has got the fuel, to be honest. He might not have the tyres either.
Yeah, he tried to get ahead of them in the pit cycle, I think, by putting less fuel in. And the problem with that strategy is it means you rely on staying close to the cars ahead of you, so you can pick up the slipstream and lift and coast in the braking zones and be able to make that lighter fuel load work. Problem is, for Michael Folds, he is dropping and dropping hard. They ran 0.2 of a second faster than him on the previous lap, and these two teammates are helping each other out very nicely.
McQueen is fading fast. Ka-chow. This is the view from second backwards at Michael Folds. Got a little bit closer on the straight there, Reta Raposta. It was on the front straight, he was a tiny bit behind. Be able to flow momentum through here, hopefully, if he's got the grip. Maybe stay close enough. This top 3 has absolutely left the rest of them for dust. Like Nicholas Shepherd's in 4th, Ray Lombardi still holding 5th ahead of John Miller. But again, through the middle sector here, Sampaio gets a bit further ahead of Michael Folds.
Yeah, they're executing the middle of the circuit very tires debate. Remember, these two up front, they took right side tires, and I did say there are more left tire dependent corners on this circuit than you think, but it's largely right tire dependent. Basically every significant corner around here is a right-hander, and it's all important about the advantage that you get on acceleration. Has Folds disappeared off the circuit?
And he hasn't come back.
Uh-oh.
And he's gone.
Oh no. Oh no. He's manually disconnected.
Michael Folds is out of this race. Joao Hedler and Jamison Sampaio lead a CFPM Sampaio 1-2, and Joao Hedler's biggest championship rival has disappeared.
What is the deal there? I'd love to know what happened to Michael Folds. That is far from ideal for him. I mean, looking at him running behind those two, he was just moving along nicely. He accelerated out of Junsao, got through Subida dos boxes, and then looked like he was maybe heading towards the pit lane, and then just disappeared off the circuit. In the midst of all of this, Peter Rosakis is just towed as well. And, oh dear, that's a lot of damage there on our resident Lithuanian, battling through the first corner. And, oh dear, little contact on the exit and right into the head of the tyre barrier.
Like stubbing your toe on a coffee table.
Yeah, absolutely. That is painful for Peter Rosakis. And for Michael Folds as well, whatever happened to him.
Yeah, maybe we'll hear from him at some later point about it. It elevates this battle to a battle for the podium. Nicholas Shepherd, Ray Lombardi, John Miller almost dropping off the tail of this. Lombardi with a 14-second stop, definitely on the shorter side. Not as short as Michael Folds, but still short, so expect Lombardi to need some saving. iRacing have tried to reduce some of the sun glare, but Ray Lombardi still makes me want to wear sunglasses inside.
Yes, indeed. I often get worried when I see that level of shine, whether or not I'll get the dreaded migraine aura in front of my eyes in the real world. Fortunately, I don't think there's much of a chance of that, just staring at the pixels on the screen. Regardless, you are right. It's a very shiny, gleaming livery that Ray Lombardi is running. And nice little sort of yellow versus purple vibe going on there. Do like how those colors complement each other.
I think it's fair to say Ray Lombardi spent a lot of time polishing it.
Certainly.
What he's got to do now is continue to look at the time ticking down on the clock, work out how many laps are going to be left, work out if he is all good to push hard on fuel or if he still needs some savings. It's all going to be decided on where race leader João Hedler and his teammate Sampaio are. They're heading up the front straight with 5.5 minutes to go. I'm pretty confident, and I think everyone can be confident, this is 3 more laps to go. Oh, wide from Shepherd, super wide through Junsao.
Yeah, that was rather wide, and you see Lombardi is immediately making up the advantage, but he has to stay a bit wide through Subida dos Boxes. Can he pick up any form of side draft coming down the start-finish straight? Well, he's on the racing line for turn 1, and you sight the braking markers a little better. You can brake so deep into the first turn here and hold the outside if you can, but just enough room being given from both drivers. They keep it clean. Nicholas Shepherd remains ahead, but that little bit of side-by-side has brought John Miller right back into the fold.
All the way to the left-hand side of the road, so we're going to get 3 lanes heading down towards turn 4. The inside belongs to Nicholas Shepherd. Again, Ray Lombardi thinks round the outside could be the way for me. Bit of a squeeze on the exit. John Miller's watching this with momentum and trying to pick which way he's going to go. The answer is probably to try to support his teammate, but heading up the hill, Ray Lombardi, it's advantage him. He's got the inside, which would seem to be where the grip is through Ferragura. And absolutely, it's where the grip and the advantage is for Ray Lombardi at the moment in 3rd place.
This is a great battle, turning into the new hottest thing on the racetrack. Lombardi going a bit preemptively defensive here, because he knows that Shepherd is going to want this position back. And Lombardi's probably seen from a distance when Nicholas Shepherd has deployed the aggression in his fight up through the top 10. Still remains in 4th and on course for a podium if he can find his way past Lombardi. It's 3 minutes or so remaining on the clock, and that means 2 laps to go for our leaders as the slipstream is on here for Nicholas Shepherd. Still flying in formation, the Brazilian team, but Shepherd ahead of Lombardi when they get to the breaking point. Ray's going to keep it to the inside of turn 1, compromises speed a little bit, but Shepherd has to compromise himself to avoid running into him. Side by side again through the huge Flat out turn 3. All defensive. They know that it's crunch time.
Flat out for these cars in these conditions sure wasn't flat out for F1 cars in 2003. I've still got that race on VHS recorded off Channel 9 somewhere. This is the race for the podium, and round the outside, momentum for Shepherd. He'll find himself with the inside at the top of the hill. He'll find himself with John Miller there, not willing to help him as much as he might have thought. Miller backs out of any overlap with Ray Lombardi, and then does so again. So Lombardi stays in fourth, dives back, crosses back to the inside in the braking zone to try to take Nicholas Shepherd there. Now around the outside, is there grip or is there marbles?
You know, looks like Shepherd was absolutely pile driving into the corner, and Lombardi had to open the steering to let him go. He's going to have to try and keep John Miller behind him now. They're racing like it's the final lap, but they're still going to have one circuit of the Autodromo José Carlos Pache to go after this.
Super exciting stuff, this group for the podium, with a bit of time in hand over Ismail Ublal, Lincoln Fox, and Michael Coates, with the white flag ready. Has he got it in his hand? Oh, he's got it out now for Joao Hedler, who's going to have one more lap of Interlagos, heading towards a Team 1-2. Jameson Sampaio looks down the inside for the race lead and takes it for the podium. They're all the way up against the pit wall. Shepherd trying to fend off Ray Lombardi. John Miller around the outside. There's a little bit of door-to-door contact. And who could win this one? Who could stand on any position in the podium? It's not decided yet on the final lap.
Oh, goodness me. Everything could go so wrong here for the two teammates. Hedler back ahead on the way into Interlagos. He'll try and hold on to the outside, but Jameson Sampaio has the geometric fastest line through that double left-hander, and he might be able to stay ahead here, but there's plenty of braking zones for Joao Hedler to get back by. All over the back of him at Ferradura. Shepherd, Lombardi, and Miller are still covered by a single unit as they make their way into the same corners just a few seconds after. Hedler is still behind Sampaio, so his chances are running out. The defense is still on. But here he comes up the inside of Pico de Pato, back to the lead.
I got to imagine that it's Team Order's photo finish at the line, but it hasn't looked like it for the race lead on the final lap. Nicholas Shepherd is all over the road in third place. Ray Lombardi doesn't seem to be able to fight him, and heading up the hill out of the final corner, it's Joao Hedler, 0.2 of a second from Jameson Sampaio. The checkered flag is still a long way away. Sampaio has got the speed. Sampaio sits in the slipstream, pulls out around the outside, and there's going to be overlap between the both of them heading to the checkered flag, but the race win is going to go to the championship leader, Joao Hedler, by 0.082 of a second. Shepherd just ahead heading up the hill. Ray Lombardi can't get him before the line, and John Miller sits fifth. Lincoln Fox and Michael Coates are going to drag race to the checkered flag as well, and Lincoln Fox wins that one. Everyone's having drag races up the hill. Mitchell Peak's only just held off Logan Fry.
Yeah, this is a very interesting finish.
There'll be another one with Mark Kruger and Sean Hayes.
Oh my God, this is incredible stuff. We completely missed this one. Oh no, that's Odyssey Adams. Losing 3 spots in one go there. Brocklesby, Hayes, and Kruger find themselves up a little further. That's 12 spots up for Gareth Brocklesby. Very well done from him.
Wow, what a final lap. Would you believe me that there were 2 drag races to the finish line that we missed as well? Insane. Just insane stuff here at Interlagos for Spec-5 World Tour. Joao Hedler probably heart beating at 150 BPM or more at the end. It would have been samba drums in his ribcage as he battled with his teammate, who I think at the very last moment offered him some grace. And thought about the glory of the team ahead of the glory of the self. Nicholas Shepherd just held on to join them on the podium ahead of Ray Lombardi and John Miller. Lincoln Fox and Michael Coates were separated by less than a tenth of a second side by side as they took the checkered flag. Mitchell Peak ahead of Logan Fry and Rui Coimbra. So Logan Fry with the open class win and a decent points swing as well. I think he'll be pretty happy with that. Mike Oswald 11th, Geordie Fike, Todd Martin, Brian Jabelski, Gareth Brocklesby in the end coming to second in class. Sean Hayes, Mark Kruger, Odyssey Adams running out of fuel at the end, lost a few late spots. Lee Martin 19th and Paul Murgatroyd 20th. I am not clear on what happens to Ismail Ublal if he crossed the line with a black flag. It's a 20 incident point drive through, and he might have gotten at least 12 from Eugenio Polici's door. So Ublal's been penalised late in the race, going over 20 incident points on the final lap. I think we can confirm that. Oh, I can look myself and confirm that.
Yeah, Ray Lombardi saying in the text chat, I don't know if he's talking to Ismail, but he said, John bumped you, now it makes sense. So potentially there was some contact in that general area that put Ismail over the incident limit.
It's the only driver that did, and he ends up last on the lead lap. Everyone behind him is either a lap down or retirement. So Frankie Sugamelli, Peter Resorkis, Michael Folds, a mystery at this point. What happened to him as he was challenging for the win and in fact even the title. Then Eugenio Polici, Michael Chase, Bobby Paul, and I don't think Breno Rodriguez, I think, did not start the race, but it was a dramatic 45 minutes at a key turning point of the championship in Spec-5 World Tour's 17th season.
Man, what a race. Very interesting indeed, and looks like it might be time for us to potentially have a chat to some drivers, but it seems for now they're all content to stay down there and have a chat with each other.
Yeah, so Logan Fry, I think we can get the open class winner. We'll see if we have open class winner Logan Fry with us.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Well, an interesting race for all involved. Everywhere that we were looking, the long climbing front straight of this racetrack made it an incredibly powerful slipstream, kept everyone incredibly closely packed together. The infield switches back directions. People can race side by side through there, and you come away with a pretty convincing open class win.
Yeah, my buddy Ismail was teaching me the track beforehand, and I've really struggled with that last corner all week. And, you know, I think I had good pace everywhere else. But the slipstream kind of saved me, allowed me to stay with that main group for a while. And then I think we were like 8-9 seconds ahead of the next group. So it was just a battle with those two guys. And I got in the middle of them and got a top 10, which is awesome.
Did he teach you the track limits?
Unfortunately, no. I ended up with 5X there. And, you know, I'm starting to learn that those 3 points are very important. Very important.
So what did you find as far as the conditions? It looked like a relatively hot track. It looks like there's a lot of medium speed corners that could put some tire wear in, and with a handful of teammates on Box 5 Motorsports, what did you guys learn, and did you have to adjust the strategy as you went?
I've never taken 2 tires before, and the track was so hot that I ended up taking lefts, and I was real nervous about it on the first lap, kind of thinking about how Kyle spun out at PIR, taking 2 tires, and I think it was the right call, but I don't really know. Tire wear was real bad.
Best food to eat while watching a sports game?
Wings, dude. What do you think?
I think delicious, but potentially a bit messy. So sticky hands type situation. But I concede very popular, very delicious. So congratulations and celebrate however you see fit. You're the open class winner from Interlagos.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Have a good night, guys.
Guy with the surname Fry was never going to say anything baked, was he?
No.
I think we can get to our pro winner and hear from race winner João Hedler. Again, João, congratulations, parabéns, race winner, championship leader, muito rápido.
Hey guys, and thank you for this race and congratulations to all drivers. And I can say nothing anymore in English, but in Portuguese. Eu queria agradecer aí a todo mundo, David, Michael, Jorge Fike, todo mundo aí, queria parabenizar a todos. Ganhar é muito bom, então já é muito bom, então ganhar em casa é melhor ainda, porque a gente conhece muito bem essa pista, todos os brasileiros gostam de Interlagos e é isso, eu queria agradecer a todos aí, agradecer a equipe CFPM, and thank you very much to all of you. Thank you.
A winner, your home track. You have the Brazilian flag on the car. 1-2 with the team. I'm sure Jameson also very happy.
Oh, I don't understand something, but yeah, Jamison is very fast here too. In our Brazilian Championship, we race a lot on Interlagos, so we know this track and we know the very strategy to race, to pit stop, and things like that, you know. We Brazilians, we drive a lot on Interlagos in our Brazilian Championship, so we know this track, we know the strategy, and everything works today, and that's it.
Thank you, João. Thank you so much, and congratulations.
Obrigado.
Obrigado.
Beautiful. Great to hear from both of our race winners, Reese, and it was dramatic the whole way through, and there's still more to come this season.
Oh, yeah, absolutely is. Got a few more rounds left remaining, and, well, Hedler back on top. Had to work for it quite a bit tonight, and his teammate gave him one heck of a race. Really gets me excited for the rounds to come. Of course, next week we are racing at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. It's another one of those tracks that has plenty of long, flat-out sections, and we're running the historic layout, so beautiful, fast and flowing end to the lap too. I think it's going to be right on a knife edge, that next round.
Yeah, that is going to be super, super high speed on the reduced chicane layout of Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, already known for high speeds, high tire loads, massively long front straight. That will be so exciting, and you'll see it here on HJBC. Wherever you're watching, please do subscribe, help us grow the channel. We'll be bringing you more Spec-5 World Tour and Champ Car iRacing series this season. But from Interlagos, we say goodbye and obrigado. David Haynes here with Reese Gardner, Michael Derby, and congratulations to our race winners from both categories in Spec-5 World Tour. You're not going to want to miss the rest of this one.